Hello, greetings. Welcome to my chapter 12 lecture on the topic of card sorts. So, objective overview, history lesson introduction, what card sorts are, the use of theory, and a how-to guide for how to use card sorts. So, what is a card sort? And if you've already read chapter 12 in your book, you already have some familiarity, or maybe you already fully know. This is an activity in which a client is asked to sort through a selection of cards and place them into categories according to, it can be importance or according to what their interests are. And the cards tend to be related to occupations, career-related activities, and things that are related to their interests, values, skills, and so on and so forth. So the first card sort was used by Leona Taylor. And as a psychologist, her focus was on individual differences that she considered the core of individuality. And so being that the differences, the choices that make up individuals made them unique, she wanted to use a card sort technique to help them with identification of what made them uniquely themselves, what lent to their individual choice patterns, so she could better guide them in their careers and their career decision making. So Tyler's card sort had three major elements. So the cards, the categories, and the process. So there's 100 cards, each containing the name of a different occupation, and the categories were would not choose, would choose, or no opinion. So for the process, step one would be, okay, I'd like you to choose to place over here in the would not choose column all of the occupations that you see as out of the question for a person like you, and to place in the would choose column those you can see as possibilities for a person like you. If you can't make a decision, place the card under no opinion. And then you break up the cards into groups and the ones you reject for this reason or that. And then on the positive side, place those you would choose for one reason in the other group and those you would choose for another reason into a second group, and so on and so forth. So there's no rules about the number of groups that a client can come up with, or about the number of cards that are put in each group. And as for the third step, she would then ask clients to explain what each new group represented, and then would ask follow-up questions. And lastly, in step 4, she would ask clients to identify which of the negative groups and which of the positive groups they saw as most important for themselves. So in 1967, Dolliver made some modifications. Dolliver was a doctoral student whose dissertation focused on Tyler's card sort technique. He made several modifications that represented important contributions to the field. So, see, students can make a difference in the world of counseling. Just because they're learning doesn't mean things can't grow and change. Dolliver made modifications to the categories, the initial instructions, and to the process. So his changes went from would choose, no opinion, would not choose, to might choose, in question, and would not choose. So as for the initial instructions, they were slightly different. They allowed for more client ambivalence. So the might choose category for occupations you might actually choose, or that have some specific appeal to you, or that seem like appropriate for a person like you. So just allowing for more flexibility. And then the in question category is for those occupations about which the client is indifferent, uncertain, or in question about. So he also added 2 steps to Tyler's method. After completion of thematic groups, Dolliver had clients rank order the 10 occupations they most preferred in the might choose column, and had them identify aspects of those 10 jobs that they find motivating, and then rank what makes them have those work motives, or have them rank those work motives rather, in order of importance. So basically it's helping them figure out, what do I like, and kind of chipping away at that until they find an answer of like, what are their most important things, so they can have some clarity in the decision that they make. And then there was continued development of the card sort throughout the 70s and 80s. As you can see here, all these different variations of the card sort. The key ideas, takeaway. So there are many ways in which card sorts can be structured. They are by definition subjective, so they're up to the person who's sorting the cards. It's a constructivist type of activity, and it invites clients to assign their own meanings to occupations, categories, themes, and so forth. And definitely, since there inception in the 60s. The work world has changed a lot for men and women and non-binary folks. So possible categories that a client could use when doing their card sort are those below in the bottom of the slide. So might choose, in question, would not choose, interesting, uninteresting, not interesting, uncertain, not interesting, like, neutral, undecided, dislike, very attractive, attractive, neutral, unsure, unattractive, or very unattractive. These are just different ways to help conceptualize a stack of jobs that a client might be going through. And so another way, which I would like using this one the most myself with clients or even for my own self, just like a factorial type design. So high skill, low skill, high interest, low interest, and you can organize them into those 4 categories. High skill, low skill, like using, dislike using, like, dislike, so on and so forth. And you can relabel these different categories with these different things here. As for the use of theory with card sorts, so it's in person, environment, fit. Cards may represent careers or activities or interests representative of RIASEC categories, the Holland Code. So theory of work adjustment, cards may reflect various work-related values and needs and reinforcers associated with various careers. And so that's why doing things like the Myers-Briggs and other things can be useful in navigating, let's say, 100 different jobs that you're considering, because it kind of gives a framework for what do I like, what do I not like, what would be a good fit for my personality versus not. And ONET, Work Importance Locator, has a card sort that's based on the TWA. Also with use of theories, so learning theories categories could be chosen to tap into major concepts in learning theories. So rewarding, uncertain, unrewarding, very rewarding, somewhat rewarding, uncertain, not very rewarding, very rewarding, likely to succeed, unlikely to succeed, have skills to succeed, could learn skills to succeed, or couldn't learn skills to succeed. I mean, ultimately, if I was doing this with a client, I think what I would want to do is just present a menu of options of different scales that could be used with this and let them kind of pick, because I think that these different categories are reflective of they could be reflective of different preferences that different people have for what's most important in a job. So maybe they really want it to be rewarding, or they really want it to be successful, or they really want it to be flexible or whatever. So kind of like a plug and play type of thing. But yeah, absolutely, this could be a very useful thing to do. Also, you could use the theory of circumscription compromise. So categories could be chosen to tap into circumscription process of this theory. You want to make it gender appropriate versus gender inappropriate, too masculine, just right, too feminine, too much prestige, just the right amount, too little prestige, high, medium, low. And you can even look at categories tapping into the compromise process of this theory. So too easy, just right, too hard, so on and so forth. So again, you can present a menu of options to a client and say, hey, you want to do this card sort thing? And these are different types of categories we can organize the jobs in. Or maybe you want to start with one category. So I'm going to start with whether it's masculine or feminine. And then I'm going to work myself down into, is it too easy? Is it too hard? Is it attainable? What's the job market like? It's a good job perspective. Is it flexible? Does it have the income I'm looking for? All these kinds of things you can help narrow it and whittle it down. So the steps for using a card sort technique, kind of just glossing over the entire thing that we've looked at here. Identify the purpose, right? Obtain and create cards, obtain or create cards. Identify the categories or continuum, create header cards and a corresponding worksheet that can help you with organization. Introduce the card sort and explain the process to your client. Allow the client to arrange the cards. Be iterative in the activities. Record the results and process the activity and what they came to discover about themselves or about the workforce or what their preferences are, these different things, and then you would have a closure. So here's an application activity. You can do a work importance locator card sort for yourself and do the card sort to see what you come up with for a job. This is the card sort scoring card value worksheet that you can use to determine your top work values, and all of that's explained in terms of these different values. So AIR, right? You see all the different letters in these different boxes. Those coordinate with these different work values. And so you can do that activity. But ultimately, whether it's a card sort, whether it's a conversation, whether it's doing a pros and cons list for every job, this is just another way that you can help clients reach a decision about what they want to do for a career, what they want to do for temporary work, long-term work, whether they're helping their spouse, so they're trying to find something they can do together, all these different things. You can help them look at their work values and determine what job would be best for them. All right, thank you. It's my lecture on chapter 12.